You guys have finished up this very long, tough battle. The dust is settling. It is not fully settled because in our last moments of our previous episode, Sephel had decided to chomp down in the way that only he does onto that juicy Ilvara brain. And he has proceeded through her memories, following her arduous journey, chasing after him and those of you that have been lost along the way, picking up new trails, trying to continue the tracks, Jeez, my words, not good there. I've been sick, everybody. Calm down.
Sounds like lame leg syndrome to me.
I can't be perfect at everything.
You can never stumble again, motherfucker.
I will be chopped down immediately, and campaign 2 will start now. And I made a mistake when we finished up last time.
It's not possible.
Doesn't sound like you.
I know.
Wouldn't happen.
I know.
No.
Oh my god, my legs are gone. Everything was cut from underneath me.
Both of them.
I was looking at a spell save DC, not a madness related DC for Sephel. So Sephel is not going to go under the effects of a long-term madness induced by Loth. But you have managed to save, and what I picture that happens is you see this frightening image of her launching forward in this kind of dream visage, and you immediately let go of Ilvara, and her head just crumples to the side, and there's gore all about your mouth and tentacles. But that's what you see. That's what you understand. You also know that her last name is Mizrym, Mizzrym. And you would know from that she comes from a relatively powerful house within Menzoberranzan. And her greatest dream was to ascend to a head position as a matriarch, and then to be accepted within the embrace of her goddess, Loth, which can be concerning for so many ways. But what you also garner from her memories is that she was a bit on the outs. She had lost her position for watching over Velkenvelv. For
us escaping was like she got like shamed, basically.
Yeah, yep. And she couldn't go back without essentially some kind of new atonement, something that would appease everybody back, at least in power, back in Menzoberranzan. So that's what you learn. What do you guys want to do here? You stand in a cave with 2 new potential allies that have come to fetch you the new information from Ilvara. Bodies galore. What you thinking?
Looting, please.
Looting. Okay, we can do looting. Roll investigation or perception checks, everybody.
Roll.
Right where we should be. That's an 8.
Very nice. Very nice.
I got a nat 20 on investigation.
Hell yeah.
Holy shit.
Hell yeah. Brendan?
I got oh wait, hold on, wrong number. I got an 11.
In 11. All right. Good. Artomis and Sephel, Sephel, you're right there. You are with Ilvara. You find her tentacle rod that she didn't get to use too much of, if at all, if I remember correctly, which is a pretty powerful magical item. You all collectively find 200 platinum pieces between the lot of them. You find 156 gold pieces and 347 silver pieces.
Oh, very nice. Good haul.
Scylla, you find a dark cloak on the body of Asha. It's got this spider-like brooch around the neck. It's got this hood. It's all made of this very fine, silky material. And you would have seen this before. This is relatively common. This is a particular spider silk made by the drow that is exported to different parts of the underdark. You and Sue would have come across this before. This is, however, I cannot say it in the dark elven language, but it's Piwafwi, and all it is a dark cloak of elven kind. However, you would all, I imagine you're probably going over these things, you would know that if this is exposed to sunlight, it will destroy it. Or actually, it loses the magic if it is exposed to sunlight.
Dang.
Does the magic return upon removing it from sunlight, or does it permanently break the enchantment?
It will return after it has no longer been exposed to sunlight for 1 hour. So, like, at nighttime, no problem. After an hour, the sun's gone down, it will be magical again. If you're in the Underdark, it will work continuously, but as long as it's exposed to the sun, it will not work.
Interesting.
Okay.
And that is all you guys find, other than a large collection of short swords and hand crossbows, which you can gather those and sell those too if you want. It's up to you guys.
I'll snag a hand crossbow to have
Okay.
on me. Assuming I can get some bolts for that too.
Yep. Everybody had, let's see here. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 individuals. I think it was supposed to be, 7, because Jorlin left. Say everybody had 15 bolts left, so
Okay.
7 times 15, and there's our total right there. So
If
a solid
if
100,
anybody
105. Okay.
If anybody wants that conversion, if we are splitting, assuming we're splitting the gold 3 ways, everybody would get 730 gold pieces.
Well, Sephel hasn't been around in a while.
Here we go. It begins.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
We settled this, goddammit.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so what is it?
730 gold pieces.
Wow, that's nice that it came out to a good round even number there.
Yeah, no, Sephel totally isn't pocketing 9 silver pieces.
Classic.
No,
Sephel.
it's 7. Hey, you know what? Call it a converter's tax, okay?
Well, it's weird that 9 silver is divisible by 3.
It's 7. It's not 9. I'm done. If you want to take 2 silver on top of that, if that will make you feel better.
It will.
It's odd because as you're divvying up the gold, Vlad actually comes over and is like very intrigued with some of this, and he's like, "May I have some of the gold,
Sure.
please?"
I'll cut in half. I'll give him what is that? 365.
Oh, thanks, Daddy.
I don't ever want to hear that again.
I would like to hear that 3 times an episode, please. And
No, you can tell he's extremely pleased. And you could tell that this is just like part of his draconic nature that he is he wants to begin his horde. And he comes back into his like hybrid humanoid form, and he goes over and he just starts like tearing off pouches, the empty pouches from the drow, and he starts piling his gold in there, and he's kind of clutching it. And he goes, "Thank you, I appreciate this."
You did
You'd love
well.
to see his first gold pile.
Vlad, are you all right? You got very close and personal, and these were not light pickings by any means.
I am rather wounded, but nothing that cannot heal in time, I suppose. I did enjoy scorching a few of them. And you can see this kind of like smile tickling on his face. That was fun.
You blew a hole through a drow matron.
Yes, I did. That was amazing, no?
I'm actually quite glad you did.
Thank you. I have found a new hunger within me that I had not felt before. A
Okay,
thrill,
well,
so to speak.
let's not get carried away with that. There is a time, and there is a place.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
Oh dear.
No.
Oh dear. Can I pass to Starcaller?
No. This is you two are having this conversation. If Starcaller was
Okay.
talking, I'd say maybe.
I think
If he
Starcaller
jumps
would
in
give
and
you
says something.
disadvantage.
Well, with a hold on. I'm gonna go ahead and burn a knowledge here.
Yes.
Can you burn a knowledge on a persuasion check? Really?
You can do it on any ability check. What are you talking about?
I'm just checking. Watch it still be like a 5.
Not much better. It's a 14.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Make an opposed roll here.
Oh yeah, with the super low charisma dragon.
Oh yeah. He turns to you and is kind of like, yes. What? When is the appropriate time? Is it wrong to feel this way?
No, and I don't mean to guilt you. As long as it remains in combat with adversaries, that is the time to harness that emotion and your skill. You use it well. Just be sure you don't harm the people you don't mean to.
Yes, I understand, and I can be better. And you can see he's genuinely taking that to heart, listening to you in that matter. Your two new companions are kind of standing off to the side, conversing with each other. As you guys are looting the bodies, kind of gathering yourselves, this small conversation is happening. Do any of you address them, or are you kind of just gathering amongst yourselves? They don't seem to be any kind of rush to move you along or anything like that.
I think after the initial looting, Artemis would walk over. Abbas Whippin, I believe. You proclaimed yourself in I didn't catch your name, Bone Woman. What do they call you?
She kind of pulls back her hood, and you can see there's like multiple braids of this very dark black hair. She's got this beautiful, like, how would I say this? Almost like, what's the term? It's not albinism, but it's like the extreme opposite.
Melanism.
Melanism, thank you. I can't remember. Is that right for when it applies to humans, or is that only for animals?
I think of foxes when I think of that, so I am not sure.
So either way, she's got this beautiful dark skin, but you can see as you're close to her, and there's a little bit of light coming from a lantern off of Abbess Whippin's like waist. You can see there's almost like this two-tone in her skin that almost looks bark-like, but it's not like there's actual cracks or anything like that. It just looks like her skin tone kind of changes in this very light distinction. She's got these very bright green eyes, and she goes, she bows to you actually, and she goes, "I'm Vasana Thorncry. It is a pleasure to meet you. You are?"
Artomis, Starcaller, Sworn Sword of King Balater of the Kingdom of Ember, Lord of Dincairn, Terror of the Tunnels, Breaker of Demons, and Lion of the Depths.
Ah, well, how wonderful. It is truly a pleasure to meet you. And I had heard something of your name from the abbess here before, so truly. And the abbess turns to Artemis and goes, "Yes, boy, we have been sent to fetch you. However, I did not expect these circumstances. Thankfully, the gods warned me, though I was not left with enough time to fully arm and armor myself, as you can see. But 'twas enough."
But of course, Abbess, it turns out our cephalopodian friend there, drow hate him, like, a lot. There's something about him being... I wasn't there. I don't know. It seems to be a thing.
Matters not, the drow are often enemies of all.
I was a prisoner of theirs. With someone who shares your name, I believe.
My name?
You traveled with someone named Abbess before?
No, I traveled with a Whippin.
Do you have a first name?
Is Lara a familial relative?
Aquilara, yes.
Forgive me for using colloquialism.
Why was she imprisoned there? What has become of her?
Oh dear. Well, perhaps we should set up a fire and lick our wounds. There's a lot to tell.
You can see Vasana is like, kind of like, all right, and begins to kind of collect her things, lifts up her big crossbow, and the abbess kind of like puts a hand to her and stops her, and she's looking at you, Sephel, kind of quizzically, and goes, "No, I will have it out now. In short terms, what has become of my granddaughter?"
She has, at the latest of my knowing, been possessed by some dark entity, a demon prince, I believe. She is in Cracklestug. In the Deep King's castle. She heads his forces, I believe. But she's not herself.
I see. Well, come. That has given me much to think upon. We shall show you to our camp just outside these tunnels. There we will discuss more. Come. And she just like immediately starts walking away from the group in the direction that they had come from, which on our map here would be to the west.
Can I try to do an insight check to see how deeply that affected her? Like, does she look like she's just processing it, or is there some deep emotional thing going on?
Yeah, go ahead. Roll insight.
While that's
Anybody's
happening,
welcome to do that. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
just real quick. I know that we were like grabbing a bunch of the weapons. Can I grab one of their like short swords for myself?
Yeah, you guys can collect all of them. You have a bag of holding. I'm assuming there's room in there if you want to take them and sell them or whatever you want to do.
I just want one.
Go ahead, take it.
So
I got a 9 on insight.
I got an 18.
Scylla, you're kind of looking at her, and her face is rather stoic, but you can see her eyes are kind of flickering around, like up, down, to the side, kind of like someone who's deep in thought and trying to like consider a bunch of stuff. However, your eyes are drawn to Vasana, who is looking at you kind of quizzically. And as like your eyes turn to her, she kind of like drops her head, kind of like embarrassed, like, oops, sorry, I was staring, kind of a thing. Sephel, you think underneath the mask of like consideration, that there is a deep seed of concern there. And everything that you've seen about this woman very shortly here is that she's very composed, she's very powerful, she's very strong-willed. Quite a bit about her, especially in like her mannerisms and decorum, actually remind you of Lara.
Yeah.
In the way she kind of carries herself, in the way that she moved about the battlefield, like you can see the family resemblance. But yeah, it's definitely affected her. But you can see that she is trying to fulfill her duty, but is deep in thought about this. So she has begun to move down the tunnel, and she calls back. She's like, "Do not dawdle now. We still have perhaps a 30-minute march before we see the sun."
30 minutes, that's all.
Sephel, that was the grandmother of the individual we had fought in the Deep Kings treasure hoard. Is that correct?
I don't know their relation.
I think she said grandmother.
Did she say grandmother?
Yeah.
She did.
Oh, sorry, I missed that part.
You fucking idiot!
Yeah, I know.
It's just like that TikTok. Yeah, I don't know what he said.
No, I didn't. I tuned out every other word.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, it is.
That is interesting that we would run into both of them here. It makes me grateful that we did not return and instead found ourselves on this path. However, if she should want us to help her return to Gracklestug, that would take time.
Yes, and this complicates the matter because I would be inclined to help her.
And I am inclined to help you.
I'm inclined to hang around and see what happens.
Well, let's find this camp first and discuss more after, I guess.
Agreed. Does anyone want this cloak? And she's got the spider silk cloak on top of her cloak in the mountebank, and it looks ridiculous trying to wear 2 cloaks.
What is it? It's basically a cloak of Elvenkind?
It's a cloak of
spider
Elvenkind.
silk.
Yeah.
I mean,
It is very nice.
no.
It looks soft. I mean, you have to get the blood out, but otherwise, very good.
I mean, if no one else immediately wants it, I'm inclined to take it.
Sure.
I have another cloak. Also covered in blood, but
Yeah. I think Scylla drapes it around Sephel's shoulders, and like she does the thing where like you adjust someone's tie, but in sex it's like adjusting the cloak.
Yeah. And it's just like slightly too tight, but like...
Yeah, right, yeah. But it is
very soft.
It is an acceptable fit.
Thank you.
Looks like the robe that you're currently wearing.
Yeah.
nice.
That's sick.
Yeah, no,
Just
that's
another
kind of
reason to stop by for video content at the Madness Table on YouTube.
that's kind of what I
Absolutely.
thought is like Sephel is sort of in like since day one rocking that vibe of like black robe with the deep purple insets. Like, this is just a
Yeah.
perfect sort of cover to
Yeah.
it.
The Magicianer grows.
Nothing like
Fashion
a
souls.
too tight silk cape. It's just like being strangled by a hand model.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
us tentacle
Yeah.
boys love it.
Jeez. That's just a whole clip of out of context video episode stuff right there. So you guys are following behind Abyss Whippin, who is keeping a little bit of distance between everybody. Like she's power walking. She's like, we're fucking getting to camp. Let's go. But as you guys are walking, Vasana actually kind of drops back to kind of walk amongst you all, and she turns a quizzical eye to the group, and she's like, "I'm very sorry. I have not been to the north very long, but I'm quite curious. Where do you all hail from exactly?"
I did not realize we were to the north. This is very interesting knowledge.
So you are only from the Underdark then?
Yes, I'm from the Dark Lake.
Curious. Are you of the Triton people?
Yes, I noticed you looking at me strangely. Does my visage offend you?
It's not offensive in the slightest. Where I'm from, we're all a little strange. And I hope that doesn't offend yourself in my saying that. And she's like kind of a little flustered there. She's like, I apologize. I was merely curious. That is all. I've heard tell of the Triton before, but I have not met any. And you, again, no offense, just do not fit any depiction I had been told, but you are a...
You are also strange looking.
Thank you. I suppose that's one of the better comments I've received here. I'm originally from the Feywild.
The Feywild?
Yes.
I do not believe I've met anyone from there.
I would be surprised if you had, to be quite honest with you. Not many of my kind have had any reason to venture into the Underdark. One for no love of the drow, cousins of sorts. But it's certainly like some of the darker places that those of my court don't typically wander in.
Your court? Are you royal?
Oh, perhaps he's
Not-
a judge.
No,
Perhaps.
not a judge, and not truly of a court. That's how outsiders would particularly associate us. There are some of us known as the Seelie, which are myself, and then the Unseelie, which are of the darker places. Some would associate them as evil, but not all as such. It's mostly about preferences.
I
Are
would like to
you-
learn much more about this Feywild, Visana. My name is Scylla.
Tis a pleasure. And she holds out her hand.
Yeah, I think Scylla like pauses for a second and then does a really awkward handshake where she's only moving her forearm.
She feels it, and she actually like turns it so your hand is like up above like this, and she kind of like just holds it steady, and she goes, "'Tis a pleasure, Scylla." And your friend, and she was like, "I would love to speak more about the Feywild. It's not often that I speak of home, so perhaps later in camp. But you, Artomis, I have your name correct?
Yes, Artomis Starcaller. Yes.
Are you from this kingdom of Ember?
No, I am an adopted son and sword of the King Baritair. I in fact hail from the Blackdare Plains. I do not know if that is close to here, because I do not know where I am.
Well, we do have a map back at camp, so perhaps that would be of some assistance for finding
It
that.
will be the first time in many a moon I have seen either a moon or a map.
I'm sure that will be a blessed sight for you then.
Indeed.
Uh,
Are you familiar with the Blackglare Plains? Is that a place that's near here?
I'm not quite certain if it is near here. I'm not familiar with the north, but we are in what many would consider the north, I believe. So perhaps you will be a better judge than I. I've only been here on the roads of this plain for perhaps a little over a month now. I arrived at Gauntlgrim not long ago, and then I realized that, well, I heard the king ask of the abbess to begin a journey this way, and so I asked if I may accompany her, just as a means of seeing more of this world. I have not yet.
Excellent. Well, we will see this map in a bit, but if you ever do find yourself among the Blackglare Plains, and you hear the beatings, the drums of war, and the howlings of hyenas, you should run away.
I appreciate that advice. I'm not unfamiliar with war, though. The hyenas, though, that is different. You, sir, I
Sephel.
have heard of your Sephel. I have heard of your kind. Not typically in good manner.
I am not of my kind. If that makes any sense.
It does not.
I was a man before I
was a real boy.
Yeah.
I was a man.
before I was captured. Yeah, no, laugh at my trauma, thanks.
I'm sorry.
I'm a man, damn it, I'm real.
I was a human. My friends are drastically immature. Before I was captured and brought to the Underdark, I transformed into this soon after.
How unfortunate. Unless it is, well for you, I suppose?
I am blessed with the ability to make use of the situation I am in. I wouldn't call this a good one, but I'm doing what I can.
That as well. It is a good nature to be able to adapt.
That reminds me, Sephel, are you unable to change forms? When you returned to us, you were...
I had I was given an item by Sekarak that allowed me to mask my appearance as to not cause even further panic to the city being set upon by oozes. I did not want to steal the show, as it were.
Interesting.
But I have not... I suppose the Ifrit would have been the easiest way that I am aware of to return to my old form, but there were more pressing matters to take care of.
In Ifrit, my goodness, you've clearly had some journeys here in the Underdark.
We've seen quite a bit. I'm curious, you said you arrived a month ago. Was simply experiencing more of the plains your motivation for coming to the material?
In part, yes. I was curious. I have spent all of my life in the Feywild. Once or twice I popped in to this plane with my father once. But otherwise, no. No, I'm just curious, really.
I've recently learned I hail from the astral plane myself, so...
Fascinating.
It's strange. I'm not aware of all of the ins and outs.
And you have no means of returning, or do you?
To be determined. It's sort of a puzzle I'm putting together.
Huh. Curious. And as you guys are kind of having these last chatting moments, you all begin to feel pretty warm. And you can see up ahead beyond the abyss, like her form is becoming more shadowy as this like deep orange and kind of purpley light is beginning to come into the tunnel here. And you can feel that kind of like that sun ray warmth kind of kissing your foreheads as it's beginning to touch there. And for Starcaller and Sephel, this has to feel wonderful. Scylla, however, as you see this beautiful light up ahead, as it touches your skin, it feels uncomfortable. Like that heat is too much.
I think Scylla, as she sees it, she's like so excited because it is exactly what Indigo talked about. And she probably, I see her like picking up speed, getting into that bolt of sunlight and like looking up into it and then feeling the warmth and then all of a sudden feeling really uncomfortable and then feeling very disappointed.
Yeah. And you are all coming up this slope, and then you see it's like the short rise, and then it lips over. And as you do, just everything opens up. And it's this glorious, glorious sight. You are looking out into a like forest top that stretches out into some hills and plains, and then you see what looks like some kind of large watery area farther to the south. You see that the sun is actually setting. It's like that nice, beautiful twilight, but still bright enough that the rays are touching down over you all, and you're all a little bit elevated as you're coming out of this cave. And yeah, so you've run forward and you see it, and it's got to be breathtaking to you until that pain. Like if you've ever been really close to like a heat lamp, just like as your hand gets closer and closer, it's just like that intensity builds.
I think there's an added layer too of like she's part fish, and so it's like she's drying.
Yeah,
and like the water is like Andrew.
And your eyes are probably like thankfully it's a little bit darker, but
don't look directly at it. Scylla, no. We didn't tell her.
I thought you were gonna tell me some fish knowledge.
No, I was just gonna realize, like, man, if I had never seen the sun before, you know exactly what I would do? I would look right at that, and it would be bad for me.
Yeah, she's 100% like, she's like looking at her like fins and her scales, and like everything's feeling tight and dry the more that she stands still, and then she just like slowly turns to look up.
No.
I think Sephel might take the cloak that he is not yet attuned to, and he's actually going to remove it from himself and place it like when he sees her discomfort, like place it over Scylla's head and sort of offer it to her as a protective means.
Sure. Yeah, it definitely helps.
You're like holding it up in this like faux shade, and I think she's just looking at her arm like, thank you, Sephel. Indigo did not, this was not part of what he told me. I find myself rather disgusted.
I'm sure that he didn't consider what the full force of the sun would do to you, but
I should like to see it though.
Don't look like peripheral, like look under and to the right, like see it in the corner.
You stare back at it and you're starting to get like those white spots in your eyes a couple of times, like oh what is this?
And I don't think grass is grass a thing in the Underdark? I mean,
Nope. You would have never encountered that trees of this like style. You've only seen the closest thing to trees that you've seen are Zerkwood. Yeah. And those are just giant mushrooms that
just
have...
imagine a bird going by and she punches it like, what are you?
It's gotta be Like
just
this
overstimulating.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And
the air would be different.
Yep, it's not stale. It's but to you, it might almost
be stale.
feel that way. Yeah,
it might be sweet and weird tasting.
It might be humid, like it might be heavier in your lungs than underdark air.
And the pollen.
Or would it not be humid? Before? Would it feel drier? Like would it hurt to breathe, almost like asthma, because maybe it's not as damp as you're used to?
Hey Andrew, what does air do to fish?
They hate that shit for real.
They hate that shit. I think Scylla,
save.
Yeah, Scylla, she like gets those white dots in her vision. I'm sure like everyone else is like continuing on, and she's like stuck in this moment of like there's so much around, and then I think she kneels down onto the ground, and she runs her hand through the blades of grass, and then she like plucks up like a handful, and then like she sees a worm, and then she plucks the worm out of the ground, and then I think she holds up both and she eats them. Because she's like, I can eat things in the Underdark. Can I eat things here?
You do, and they don't taste great, but you're like all new tastes, all new sensations. And you hear a chuckle from behind you, not amongst your friends, and it's Vasana, and she's like, it is quite different coming to a new land, a new place, is it not?
I did not realize just how different it would be. I had a friend who told me about the sky and the sun and even the dirt, but I guess I did not realize the expanse. I find the air is dry.
Well, we have plenty of water back at camp, and perhaps that's something that we can help you with, perhaps. And it is drawing close tonight, so perhaps the sun and the heat won't punish you for too long.
Yes, and I will not keep us. And she will stand and like quickly start to walk forward.
Are you wearing the cloak, or are you not?
No, I think Sephel just like held it up as like a stop it, look at this, don't look at the sun. And then Scylla
I was
like,
offering it to you like as a cover. Like
well, she's wearing she's wearing the cloak of the mountebank.
Okay.
So she's like, I think she's like, no, thank you. I will put my head up. Yeah.
He'll return it, but he's gonna stick close in case she needs anything or is overwhelmed with the experience.
Sure. I'm so curious, like, this is the stuff that I love. I know our listeners are probably like, move on with it, but I'm so curious too how like Scylla probably looked super vibrant and colorful in the Underdark versus like now in the sunlight and stuff like that, because I almost picture you have like the same coloring of like deep sea creatures, where it's dark and bioluminescent and all sorts of stuff. So like now is it just like you're dark and gray, and like are your fins almost translucent? I'm curious.
Yeah, it's definitely like when the sun hits, her fins are like a very cloudy blue and translucent, and her skin is probably like shades of gray and brown. That is definitely, I'm sure some of the bioluminescence is there, but as the sun goes down, she just becomes very dull.
Abbess Whippin has already kind of like descended down the tall hillside into the trees beyond, and Vasana has stayed with the group of you just to kind of see your reactions. She was super genuine and curious and happy for you all. What is going through Artemis's head and Sephel's head as they are now seeing the surface once again?
I think Artemis, for a long time, had kind of almost given up that he would ever see the sun again. After his like original expedition to the Underdark was broken and things just went sideways for him, he had kind of made peace with the fact that he was never going to survive to see it. I can only imagine like the exhalation of breath he has is just like so relieved and excited, and then like that little tickle of fear, because along with like resigning himself to never going back, it was well, I don't have to deal with any of the problems I had up here because it's not possible for me to go back. But now there's like a whole new world. And I think he's clutching Dawn tightly and just kind of like telepathic communicating over like, we are here. We made it, Dawn. We are beneath the sun's embrace once again.
You can feel from her this like happy sadness and this excitement, and she's like, Artomis, please let me see it. Let me see any bit of it once more, please. I have been in the dark for hundreds of years. This is all I've wanted.
Artemis will like run, like look for like a place where like the rock juts out and gives like a truly spectacular view of this sunset. And he'll bring the haft of Dawn's Edge out and like extend her like fully over his head and invoke her blades, so they can shine out under the sun as they were always meant to.
So she comes out her two blades, and it's like just above this cave entrance that you're kind of at the top of this small hill / smaller mountain, and the last like streaks of the sun's ray are hitting you guys, and she's just like, I cannot tell you how thankful I am for this sight. The sky, all of it is so beautiful. I'd almost forgotten.
Drink it in, Dawn. We are no longer lost to the darkness. The sun is ours once more.
I wish to bathe in its light as much as possible. But I know the night draws close.
We will.
And Artemis will stay up there, just letting the sun set, before he makes his way down to camp or anything like that. He and her, I think it's important for him to like soak up the sun together in this moment.
Yeah. And at that elevation, you can feel the wind on your faces. You can see it dancing through the trees. You can see the sun dipping beyond the hills and mountains. And it's gotta feel wonderful. And I imagine at some point Vasana like kind of calls up to you like, if when you're ready to join us, just follow this small path down to the base. We are not too far. We'll have food and drink, provisions, plenty. We have cots, or not cots, but rolls for everybody. Sleeping rolls, bed rolls. But I'll leave you to it.
Thank you. Once the sun sets, we will be there.
I think too now Artemis will draw out the drow short sword that he collected, and while he's up on that promontory, with the sun like kind of setting in front of them, he will use Dawn's Edge to cleave that blade in two and add it to his belt.
You do that, and she actually asks you. She goes, Artemis, why? How many trophies, and why do you collect them in such a matter?
A broken blade is a powerful thing, Dawn. It is a manifestation of victory. It is a reminder of what one has come past and what one has overcome. And it is a warning for all those who might see it. that they too shall be broken, if they dare to rise against the tide.
I see. I feel I myself might have had something similar, but I do not know that it was in that manner. That was a very, very long time ago. Jumping to Sephel. What's going through your head, bud?
The second that the tunnel started to feel warm and light started to peek through, Sephel was overwhelmed with anxiety. Even more so coming up into the surface. Because Sephel had a similar sort of settlement that Artomis did. Not that he wouldn't return to the surface, but that regardless he couldn't. That there's sort of the sentence that's been going through his head for so long now is that the Sephel that came down will never return. Because he's so different in so many ways. And he now has this form that is barely accepted in the Underdark, depending on the circle, and would never be accepted in the surface. So, from the second they broke the surface, I think he pulled up the hood that he now has, and just doesn't know what to make of his return.
Can I roll an insight check on Sephel? See if I notice this, like...
Sure.
How insightful am I? Oh, I'm pretty damn insightful. That's a 18 total.
Yeesh. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think he has the energy. Like, he's not trying to hide it. No, I mean, I think actually a good time in that moment he was helping you, like holding up the cloak. I think you saw the cloak shaking a bit with his hands. And while he's stuck close to you because, you see concern in him and he is worried about you and wants to make sure you're okay, he's sort of almost looking past you, just constantly. Like his eyes are somewhere else.
Yeah, I think once Scylla has this moment of like exploring and like the overstimulation, and then she realizes she needs to hurry up and catch up with everyone, she catches up with Sephel and she's striding in sync with him. Sephel, it is strange here, isn't it? It is different for me, and it would seem that perhaps for you as well.
No, everything looks the same, but I am different.
That is right. You were less tentacly.
Much.
Do you know of your family and friends here in the surface?
I don't think I have any. I think all of the friends and family I had were beyond this realm or beneath us. But I don't know, there's still so much I don't remember.
Then we are together in this, alone, and an unfamiliar, or familiar in your case, but inwardly unfamiliar place. Perhaps we can shoulder each other here.
I like that.
And if anyone comments on your appearance, I will kill them.
I believe you. I will do the same.
I believe you. I do have something I would like to do if you would help me.
Sure.
And Scylla will find a tree. I'm sure there's many.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they're all about.
And she's like definitely like interested in like figuring out all about the tree. But she will gesture for you to kneel with her, and she's gonna pull out Indigo's chainmail armor. And she's going to say, I do not know if it is appropriate to bury it, but that is what my instincts are telling me. That Indigo did make it to the surface. Maybe not how anyone would have liked it, but all the same. And she like digs this hole, and I think she places the chainmail in it. And I think they probably sit there awkwardly for a while, like, looking at it.
Yeah. I think that's perfect.
I agree. I'm not one for too many sentiments.
Oh, you could have fooled me.
It is different. The Triton are very honest, and oftentimes sentiment is dishonest.
I had
However,
not considered that.
Yes. I found Indigo to be a very honest person. Very true to both himself and to those around him. And he was certainly cut short in his glory. I would have liked to have more time with Indigo. But I learned a lot. And I think there is much still to learn, although he is not here. And she will like start to cover the chainmail with the dirt.
Sephel will help cover, and he'll just watch the chainmail sort of fade away under the dirt. When we reach a tavern that will accept our kind, we will raise a tankard to Indigo and pray that this one doesn't have a tongue and teeth.
Except Scylla, of course, is like, I do not know what that means, but I've never known a tankard to have tongues or teeth, and
They shouldn't have them. But if anyone was
hopefully
going
they
to make friends with one,
it would be Indigo. He liked friends. Indeed. And she finishes up and she like pats the dirt down. And his forehead isn't there, but she will place her palm upon it, this mound of dirt. And that is it. Thank you.
thank you. I'm glad somebody got a peaceful homecoming.
Yeah, I do not like the sun. And she will start to walk back together.
Get much less.
Yeah.
You do have to see the stars, though. I may be biased, but that is beauty.
The stars are not out yet, I assume?
They're at this point, if we were kind of comparing it to real world, this is when you would start to see like the North Star appearing, like the one and only just starting to come out.
Yeah, I think she looks up and she sees one star and she's like, I do not really get it. There is something there, and I can tell it isn't.
What the
Give
fuck?
it like 30 minutes. I swear it's gonna be good.
It's gonna be great.
I will wait.
We'll return to the camp with everyone, I guess.
Okay. Sephel, what's your passive insight?
Oh, so good. 13.
Scylla, you're right there too. What's yours?
15.
Okay,
15,
it's better
great.
than mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you both turn, this was like relatively close to the cave entrance, if I'm right, or did you guys do this somewhere else? It was pretty close.
I mean, near a tree, but
Yeah, it would have been the closest
Yeah.
tree we could find.
Okay, so it was decently close. As you're like making your way to the path, which is by the cave entrance, and going down to join both Vasana and Abbess Whippin, Scylla, you look back to the cave entrance. Whether it's a combination of like wistfulness of you're leaving home or something else, but you look back, and as you look into the darkness, you get like that little shiver up your spine, like it's like you kind of look back and forth, and you're like, you have this feeling like you're being watched, but you don't see anything or anybody, and like your eyes are adjusting more in the dark, and you can see in there a good ways, but you don't see anybody or anything.
Yeah, I think as soon as she gets that feeling up her spine, she stops and she turns and fully looks at the entrance. And she just like looks there for like 30 seconds. It's very obvious, but...
Are you thinking on running back already?
She like grins. No, I felt like something was watching me, and my intuition is usually on point.
Well,
I see nothing, for what it's worth.
if something follows us out, we'll kill it.
We will. And she'll turn back and look.
Have that scary monster in the dark.
Yeah.
We'll kill you.
Just hear
So
stool
you
start
guys-
screaming, I finally found you!
Yeah.
You just cast fireball into the entrance.
Yeah, right.
You just keep casting it.
Just black hole, just suck him
Right.
into the abyss.
So you begin making your way down this path. Artemis, how long do you stay on top of the hillside?
Until the sun sets.
Okay. Scylla and Sephel, you make your way down into camp. You see that there's this very large cart that has been set up, and inside are numerous numbers of crates carrying all sorts of supplies. You can see there's like stamped writing labeling them all. You see tied up a little ways to the side are 6 horses. You can see it was like this cart is so large and so heavily laden that it required that many horses to pull it. You see that there is a small fire with a cauldron bubbling over it. You see the abbess is kind of tending to it. Most of her armor has been taken off now. You see Vasana off to the side, tending to her bone club and blade, and she's kind of smiling at the two, kind of greets you as you both come down. And Vlad, by the way, like, as soon as you guys came out, was just awestruck and like took off flying. And I imagine there was this moment between like you guys and him of like, don't go too fucking far.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Don't go towards the city.
Yeah, but he is just like, you can hear him just braying, like loving it, enjoying, like he can stretch out his wings. He doesn't have to worry about the caves. But they're out for a long time, and you can hear them like up ahead, circling, landing in trees, getting into all sorts of trouble, like a cat that's going through one of those like spazzy cycles. It's just intense about everything. Loves it. Artemis, the sun's rays are making their final descent, and you can feel the cool air beginning to descend upon both you and Dawn's, and you can see her and like hear her sigh as those last rays kind of dip beyond the horizon. What do you do?
He speaks to Dawn, I think this time just out loud. I cannot promise you that the way ahead will always be bright, but together we will bring light to the darkness, wherever we may find it.
I certainly hope that we do. Thank you.
And then he'll tromp on back to the camp.
As you are making your way down the hillside. What's your passive insight?
Just a 11.
Okay. You're kind of coming down and you kind of make this kind of circle towards the front of the cave entrance before you follow the path, as it's pretty rocky terrain there. Why take chances when you don't need to? You also get this feeling of like being watched from the cave entrance.
I think Artemis would also look back. Do you feel that, Dawn?
I don't. Which is odd. Do you mind holding me aloft for a moment?
Of course. And he'll do so. Blade to the air.
And I love this image. It's like if we were inside the cave, we were looking up, we see like the large form of Artemis just like hold up the shaft, and then vroom, the light blade shines down in, and I imagine there's a close-up of Artemis's face as he peers in with the light shining into the cave, and your eyes are like still for a moment, and then your eyes go wide, and you're like, We'll see you guys next time.
What's that? You hear that? It's the sound of the chains binding us to our eternal servitude to you, the listener. That's right. We love you guys, and we always will. Thank you so much for tuning in, making it this far into the pod. We do have a few announcements for you. First off, we have a Discord. So what are you waiting for? Get in here. Join us. We can't wait to see you. You can find our Discord link and all of our social media links at linktree.com/themadnesstable. Secondly, in our Discord, we are going to be having a community game night Friday, February 9th, and playing some D&D Trivial Pursuit. So if you want to be hanging out with some like-minded Larrys, come on in, say hello. We'll be there. And again, can't wait to meet you. Lastly, if you've made it this far, consider leaving us a 5-star review in whatever podcatcher you're currently listening. Every single review is absolutely instrumental in helping us grow, so if you could do that for us, we would be eternally grateful. But that's it for now, and we will see you in the next episode. When?